just went on a trip to Nashville and bought a bunch of went around and bought a bunch of stuff. So I was gonna post pictures of it on Discord for whoever is watching this from Discord, probably. But I was like, I'll just make a video, post a video instead. So I bought a bunch of stuff and just gonna go through it. Well, first I'll start off with something that I didn't get in Nashville, but it, um, there's this sale here in Louisville. It happens, I think, 3 times a year. It's Locust Grove, which Locust Grove is like this historical place, and I don't know what happened there historically, but they have these book sales as part of a fundraising thing, and it's always incredible. And I actually went there on Friday before I went to Nashville, and I bought a bunch of stuff, but it's all dispersed. I would probably maybe put this in the video too, but I bought a ton of stuff, and uh, yeah, and but I saw on Instagram that um, yesterday on Sunday, which was the last day of the sale, that all the stickered items, because they had items that were like, $1 for a paperback, $2 for hardcover, and then they have the stickered items which have a set price, and all the stickered items were half off. And I saw this, initially, I think last year they had this set at the sale and it was $100, and I didn't want to do that. It was half off then. It was $50, and then they had it this time and it was $40, and then it was half off yesterday. So I had my brother. Thank you to my brother Josh, and he went and bought it for me for $20, which is the complete uh, set of the Anthony Powell Dance the Music of Time, which these are really nice. I mean, it has the same, the Dance the Music of Time, like little paintings on them, kind of like the paperbacks do. Um, they're just beautiful looking books, and I mean, like for $5 a piece, it was a good deal. So thanks to my brother Josh for grabbing that for me. And all this stuff is like basically out of not in any order. It's just like whatever um, I pick up first or whatever. And uh, so this one I got, it's William Hale White, autobiography of Mark Rutherford, and Mark Rutherford is like his like alter ego, I guess, or like a pen name that he used. Um, I heard about this author reading. I I can't remember the guy who edited it, but it's a book of English language essays. It's just like a penguin that's kind of like representative. Early uh, like Robert Burton and like Jeremy Taylor, that kind of stuff, up to like modern day whenever the book was published. And the book maybe was published in the 50s or 60s or something like that. And there's no essay by him in it, but there is an essay that mentions him as a great prose writer. And I wish I could remember who wrote that essay, but I can't. But I've been wanting to read this because the essay, there's like a little bit of his prose in there, and I really I liked it. So um, yeah, I bought that. I bought this Thomas Berger. Um, not much to say about that, but I enjoyed the one book I read by him, The Feud, which is kind of like a comedy drama type thing, and that one is about like a small town. Like there's two families that get into a conflict, and it kind of gets like explosive or whatever, and that's a good book. This is a evergreen book about Edwin Muir, who's a poet, and it's it's like kind of blurry, but and I like his poems. I actually recently, within the past year, finally found a book of his poetry, which was good. And I also have a book about essays about poetry that he wrote, and I got that within the past couple months, I believe. This is just a book about his like writing, poetry, and stuff like that. Well known also, or maybe more well known. It's like so white you can't see the name or anything, but he's well known because he translated Kafka. I think he was one of the first people to translate Kafka into English, or at least most of it. And I think he did it with his wife. And he also translated Herman Broch, the Sleepwalkers. I got this, and oh geez, the Grim Reader, I think is her name. Uh, I've talked to her. When I was in Orpheus's Discord for a while, and she does videos on YouTube, and I feel really bad. Nobody's gonna see this video anyways, but I feel bad. I think it's the Grim Reader. I think maybe her name is Kathy or something. But I initially was going through a book, like a science fiction encyclopedia type thing, and just looking at anything that seemed interesting. I mean, I don't read a lot of science fiction, but just whatever. And I saw a book by her, and it looked interesting. And I have, this um, uh, the Grim Reader or whatever added on Goodreads, and I saw that she had one of the books rated, and that's because Cherry Wilder, that's her mother, and so I was like, oh, that's cool. So this is the second book that I've come across by her, and I haven't read the other one that I have, but just I wanted to go ahead and get that. I don't remember if I have a copy of this or not. A Voice Through the Cloud by Denton Welch, but I love Denton Welch, and I haven't read this one yet. Come to think of it, I might already have a copy of it, but it's whatever. I got a book of essays by Joseph Epstein, and I really enjoy his essays. I actually brought a book of his essays on the trip. I actually got 2 books by Joseph Epstein, whatever, and this is the other one, Charm, and so yeah, I enjoy his essays a lot. I think it maybe Patrick Kerp on Anecdotal Evidence, that blog. I think that's where I first heard about Joseph Epstein, and yeah, I kind of I took a lot of ideas for reading from that blog. Sort of an influence, I guess. So I got this Italo Calvino, Baron in the Trees. I got a Dawn Powell book. I think I got a book of hers on Friday as well at that one sale. I haven't read any of her books yet, but I've heard good things about her. Got this Henry James, Ambassadors. Trying to fill out my Henry James. I got this History of Russian Literature, and it looks interesting. I've heard of it before. I feel like I saw someone on maybe Discord, a Discord I was in, talking about it one time or something. Got this John Addington Symonds Italian Literature. I don't know if this is plucked from his Italian Renaissance book. There's like a 2-volume book or something like that. It says Renaissance in Italy, Italian Literature in 2 parts. It says part 2. It's interesting. So is it only part 2? Damn. Well, I guess this is only part 2. I didn't realize it. It doesn't really, tell you, does it? But it's fine. Try to get all of these out at the same time. So I went to some thrift store, and I noticed this Donald Westlake book. I've never even heard of this. I guess he wrote it with his wife. And I was like, oh, I'll grab that. I'm a fan of Donald Westlake. and I'm trying to remember what I read first by him, or why I even. Oh, that's what it was. I was on vacation in South Carolina, I believe, a couple years ago, and they I went to a thrift store in the area, and it was the book Too Much, TWO, Too Much, and I read the first line. It was like, I can't even remember what it was, but it was funny, and I was like, oh, I'll grab this. I mean, I not my normal type of thing, and I was like, oh, this is really good, and it's a really funny book. And then I read the one of the Hunter books, and I've seen more of the movies based on his books than you know like the Grifters with John Cusack, Point Blank, which is based on the first Hunter book, and then there's Payback, which is also based on that book. I mean, The Outfit, all those are really good movies. Donald Westlake also did write some movies. I don't know if I've seen those, but anyways, this is signed, and I was like, oh shit, it's signed. It's cool. And then I realized that there were a ton of mystery books there that were also signed. So I got this one. I've never heard of this writer, but it looked kind of interesting. Kind of has an interesting cover. I guess he is from Nashville, I believe, and he's a musician as well, Jesse Sublet. Um, I got this signed, Jeremy Charon or whatever. I haven't read any of his books yet. I have the Tar Baby, and maybe a book about baseball or something that he wrote. They're all signed to Michael Spindler. And I looked up Michael Spindler. I was like, I wonder if I can figure out who this guy is. And the only thing that comes up is the ex-Apple CEO or whatever. So I don't know. Got this. I think I have a copy of this Donald Westlake already, but this one is signed. I got this James Salas book signed. The guy who wrote Drive, that the terrible Ryan Gosling movie is based on. I'm sure the book is better. Got this Colin Dexter, Inspector Morse book. Never read any of them. I don't know if I'm going to keep all of these, or maybe like sell them for a little bit more on eBay or something. Some of them, but I enjoyed watching the Endeavor with my grandma, which is like a when Inspector Morse is like young or whatever. So that's cool. Got a signed Ruth Rendell. Got signed Children of Men. Another signed Donald Westlake, which I don't have, so I'll keep that one. Another signed Donald Westlake, Smoke. I don't have that one, so I will also keep that. Signed Ross Thomas. See, I think I read a Ross Thomas book a year or so ago because I believe Donald Westlake is a fan, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there's a blurb from Donald Westlake on the back. Ross Thomas was terrific when he started, and he just gets better with every book. The book I read was all right, but it didn't hit as much for me as like the Donald Westlake stuff I wrote. So I think this is it. I also already have a copy of this, but it's signed. So I grabbed all the signed Donald Westlakes and all that. So I think that's everything that I got from there. But I'm just going through these boxes, so I don't know. I got some stuff at McKay's in Nashville. Got this William Hazlitt. I already have a couple books of his essays, but it's just one of those writers. Every time I see, they're a little bit harder to find. Every time I see one of these books, I pretty much just grab it because I enjoy his writing a lot, and they're a tiny bit harder to find. Let's see. I got this at a Goodwill. Rainer Rilke. I tried to read this once, and I didn't get that far, but I thought I'd give it another shot. Paul West, Ratman of Paris. I got a book of dialogues by Torquato Tasso, who wrote Jerusalem Delivered, I believe. Epic poem. Pretty sure. I think Italian Renaissance writer. Got this. I was excited. Samuel Johnson on Shakespeare. I've been reading on and off, I guess, for like the past month or two, the Life of Samuel Johnson. I was very much enjoying that, and I've been more interested in reading more Samuel Johnson, and I'm about 400 pages into it, but it's about 1,400 pages long. So, Evan S. Cannell, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, or whatever. I've never heard of this book. I just saw it at McKay's. It's a history of torture, and I had another book, a history of torture by a different writer. This one seemed maybe a little bit better, and I don't know. It just was appealing to me, I guess. Got this Claude Levi Strauss. There's a Guy Davenport essay where he talks about these books. What is it? Mythologiques or whatever, and it got me interested in reading him. I don't know that much about anthropology, but Crampton Hodnett, Barbara Pym. I think I have a copy of this already. I like Barbara Pym, but I think the copy I had was an ex-library copy, and I got this for like 50 cents or something. So I was like, what the hell, I'll just go ahead and replace the other copy that I have. I think it's one of the posthumous novels. I think that might have been one of the first or earlier novels she wrote or something, and it didn't get published until after she died. But I think it's one of the better posthumously published novels of hers, because I know they're not all super well regarded or whatever. But I have most of her books anyways. So, and I got these at Half Price Books too. The same one where I got the other one, the Letters of Samuel Johnson 2 and 3. So there's like 5, I guess. But I mean, that was a good price. I mean, they're $13 and $10. So. Yeah, just kind of filling out that Samuel Johnson, library a little bit. Now, this one was really these were really interesting. So my friend Aaron recommended that we go to and get this, go to this bookstore in Nashville, and it was mostly like a lot of like, history, like Civil War type stuff. I was like not interested, but they had a lot of like Southern writers, and they had this Andrew Lytle book. And I know Andrew Lytle through his connection with Alan Tate. They were friends. They were part of a group, I guess, The Fugitives or something like that. There was like a literary review, The Fugitives, and some of the other writers are in here, like Caroline Gordon and Caroline Gordon was Alan Tate's wife. And I have some of her books. Robert Penn Warren. But yeah, and I was asking the guy who owns the store like how much it was, because it didn't have a price, and he told me, and he actually knew Andrew Lytle, which was crazy. And so we talked about that a little bit, and he recommended me this book. So this is he had a book which was Alan Tate and letters with this guy, Donald Davidson. So I'd never heard of this guy before, but he was also one of the fugitives or whatever. And so this is a 2-volume book, the Tennessee on the about the river, and I've never heard of it before, and he said it was really great. So the books there were a little bit too pricey for me. Mostly, he gave me a discount on those. He recommended to me, and yeah, it was a fair price for those. So I'm really interested in reading those. Yeah, he had a picture of him and Andrew Lytle together, up in the front of the store, which was neat. And hold on, I got this at a Half Price Books outlet. I like his poetry, Richard Wilbur. Yeah, I have like a smaller selection of his poems. I just wanted to get that because it contains more. Got this. This is another one I heard from Guy Davenport, I think, first, Christopher Logue, and George Steiner and some other people I know also like it, and I think Patrick Kerp from Anecdotal Evidence also likes this, and it's like a retelling of parts of the Iliad. So don't know that much about it otherwise, but it seemed interesting. I got this William Maxwell collected stories. I recently read So Long, See You Tomorrow. Yeah, that's the name, and I really like that book. Very, very, very powerful short book, and I've just been grabbing all the William Maxwell that I find pretty much. I got this, The Ordeal of Gilbert Penfold by Evelyn Waugh. I've been trying to grab all the Evelyn Waugh books, or however you pronounce his name. Not a woman. I didn't know that for the longest time, before I started getting his books. But uh, this is based on, he was taking some medication or something, and he was like on a cruise. Evelyn Waugh was, and he started hallucinating. So this book is like based on like a kind of a comedic retelling of that situation. So I was kind of like interested in reading that one a lot. So got this. Man, I don't know if I have. I don't think I have this one. I think I have the first 3 volumes of the E.F. Benson's Lucia series. I think I need 2 more. I need 4 and 6, I believe. They had the other ones at McKay's, or they had at least one of the other ones, and they just weren't in very good shape, so I just didn't bother. This, I got this at a thrift store. I have the other 2 books in the series. I mean, I'm not as, I don't know as much about it. I think I just came across them for cheap, the other 2, and I just wanted to pick that up. I got this, and Jonathan Williams. He studied with Ivor Winters, and this was kind of what came of that relationship as he edited this volume of English Renaissance poetry. Jonathan Williams, the guy who wrote Stoner, which is a really good book. And yeah, I have been looking for a copy of this for a while. I got it for pretty cheap. I mean, it's not in amazing shape. I've read a little bit of it online. I mean, I'm familiar with some of the poets already, but I've read a little bit of it online, and I just wanted to get a copy. I actually brought my Ivor, or how you pronounce his name, Winters book. I have 2 of his 2 books of his poems, and I brought one of them on my trip. I didn't end up reading it, but kind of a coincidence, I guess. Switching gears a little bit. I got this. I don't have an Xbox 360 though, so I don't know. I'll have to get one. But this game is supposed to be a great JRPG, and I've been enjoying playing those recently. And this game is only on the Xbox 360. It actually comes on four fucking discs. Can you believe it? And yeah, it looks really good. And this price, 24. Okay, McKay's, their video game prices are awful. I mean, almost all their games are like way more expensive actually than online or at another store. But this one was a decent price, $24. So, which is cool. I got a couple books, or not books, sorry, games on Facebook Marketplace. While I was in Nashville, I got Radiata Stories, which I, have been interested in playing a lot. Got this too, Grim Grimoire for PS2, and it came with this. I have no idea what this is. Gun Griffin Blaze, but it was a decent price for the other 2, so I just grabbed the whole set. So it's cool. Definitely will enjoy playing those whenever I get around to it. I got some more movies. Let's see. Bubba Hotep. I like Phantasm by Don Coscarelli, and I've never seen this one, but I got The Player, Robert Altman. Love that movie. I got Marabito, which I haven't seen. I believe it stars Shinya Tsukamoto, which, if I remember correctly, is the guy who did Tetsuo the Iron Man. But this is written by Chiaki Konaka, who wrote like most of like Serial Experiments Lane, which is classic, like one of my favorite animes. I'm not super into anime, but I love Serial Experiments Lane. And he also wrote Evil Dead Trap 2, which is a fantastic movie. You don't have to have seen Evil Dead Trap 1 to understand the second movie, because they're not related at all. They're both really good. I think I prefer Evil Dead Trap 2, but I got this. This is a Ryuhei Kitamura, film, and the same guy who did Midnight Meat Train, which is a great movie. I actually was looking for Midnight Meat Train. I couldn't find it. I haven't seen this one. Habit, Larry Fessenden film. It was pretty cheap. I watched the other movie he did called Wendigo, which was great, and that one has the kid who played Dewey in Malcolm in the Middle, and he's good in that one. I got this Takashi Miike film. Haven't seen this one. I got Stone Reader, which is an excellent documentary about that book, Stones of Summer. You know, who knows? The book might not be very good, but this documentary is incredible. So that's what counts. I got Dracula. You know, shout out to Alex Lanquidity. This is an amazing movie I watched a couple months back. And I got Tampopo. I love this movie. It was like $20, so I was like, man, I can't pass it up. I love Tampopo. I've seen it a bunch of times, so my wife got a couple Frank Zappa CDs, and she also got a Frank Zappa poster, which is a really fucked up poster. I wish I had it in here. I got this legendary Jim Ruiz group. I can't remember how I came across this guy initially. It was like I was looking up something to do with Prefab Sprout, and I accidentally found like this old like record catalog thing, and there was like a thing about one of his singles sounding like Prefab Sprout or something like that. And I listened to it, and it's really good. It's kind of like a mix between like Jonathan Richman and Prefab Sprout or something like that, or maybe a little bit more jazz, normal jazzy sounding than Prefab Sprout, but it's really good stuff. I got this. Man, I only just recently got. Well, I got one Game Theory CD, a while back, but it's like a compilation, kind of like odds and ends type thing. I just recently got Real Nighttime on CD recently, and I love Game Theory, and their albums are so hard to find. Finally got this one. One's not like my favorite, but I mean, I like all of them pretty much. Finally found this too. Posey's Frosting on the Beater, which is a fantastic album. I actually found it on cassette first, which I also have on cassette over there. And Big Star Third, man. It took me forever to find this album. It's one of my favorite albums. It's just wonderful stuff. I got this Olivier Messiaen CD. I don't have this piece, a recording of this piece, I believe. It's Chronochromy. La Vie din. I'm not gonna try to pronounce it, but I'm not super well versed in classical music, but I have always really enjoyed his music a lot, and so I pretty much every time I see one of his CDs, if I don't have it, I'll pretty much just grab it. Got this Todd Rundgren CD. I really like this album. I don't have any Todd Rundgren CDs for whatever reason, but I like this album a lot. I got this. I haven't heard it. It's Han Benink and Dave Douglas. Don't know Dave Douglas, but Han Benink, he's like a free improv drummer guy. I think he did some stuff with Peter Brotzman, and I enjoyed those. And this was pretty cheap, so I just decided to give it a shot. Let's see. There's another CD my wife caught. Juliana Hatfield. I don't know if I have this one already or not, but His Name Is Alive, Mouth to Mouth. I mean, this is a fantastic album, fantastic band. I love this album. I might have it already. I can't remember. I got this. I haven't listened to it, but I know my friend Thomas likes it, so shout out to my friend Thomas. This I had never heard of, but it's produced by Warren DeFever, and he plays guitar on a song on it. Warren DeFever is the guy from His Name Is Alive, so it was $1, so I had to get it. I got this Ligeti Etudes. I think this is books 1 and 2. I think I have all of them, like a different recording, but this was like $2. I mean, like, why would I not grab it? Got this Old Believers, Songs of the Nekrasov Cossacks, and folkways. I don't always. I mean, I like to get the folkways CDs if I can find them cheap. You know, just interesting stuff. Um, this Ludas Lasky, I've enjoyed some of his music as well, and it was pretty cheap. So, I think I'm almost done. Got this at one of the thrift stores, Greater Trumps. Charles Williams was part of that group with Tolkien and C.S. Lewis. What I can't remember what it was called, and but he kind of wrote like these occult themed, mystical themed, maybe sort of Gnostic themed, sort of horror novels. And I haven't read any of them yet, but this one, the tarot theme, kind of was interesting to me, and I have a couple other of his books, and so I'm really interested in reading this. And it was cheap, so I picked it up. This one I got for really cheap at McKay's. I mean, McKay's, it's like a pain in the ass, like looking through all their stuff, and they have some other problems, but I enjoyed going there this time. And you know, William Blake, you know, Algernon Charles Swinburne. This was like $1. It's like $10 for like the cheapest, like maybe even $12 for the cheapest copy that's online. It's like, of course I'm gonna get this. Not the I like Swinburne. Not the biggest fan of him, but I'd like to read his criticism. And I like William Blake. Uh, I will say some of his poems, it's, you know, I don't know, they're kind of like really well done, but not always the best. But his translations, he did a couple of what is it, Francois Villon, or however you pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce it, but those are excellent. And I have another translation, you know, like of all of Francois Villon's poems, and I couldn't really get into it. But the Swinburne translations were excellent. So kind of, you know, opened up uh, that poetry to me a little bit. So, you know, I respect that. I'm thankful. Got this. I might already have a copy of this, but I can't remember. This guy has the most fucked up looking facial hair ever. It's so disgusting. But he's an interesting guy. And then I think this is it. I think this is almost everything. I just got a hardcover of this at McKay's. It was $2. It was a good price. So yeah, got a lot of good stuff in Nashville and the surrounding area. So I just wanted to share that with, you know, my friends or whatever. So you know, thanks for